you invest in real estate and why or why not, and other real estate investment principles, because that's what we do around here. Don't ask me how to buy a put or an option on a piece of stock. I have no idea, but I can tell you how to buy an apartment complex or a commercial building. I can help you with that. Today, I want to talk a little bit about what does it take to invest in real estate. We talked a little bit about the why and what's your why and different things, different aspects about real estate investment. So let's talk a little bit about the how, because I usually get a lot of questions when I go to different social events or I run into people around town and everything, and they go, how did you get started? What that really is translated into is, how did you pull this off? Looking at me, looking up and down the other, like, how in the world did you do this? And that's fine. I don't mind the kind of backhanded criticism. I really don't, because I did it. And so I just look at it and go, I don't know, I just did it. So, they ask that kind of question. It's kind of like, how did you get into this? And also like, truly, how did you get started? And there's a lot of little underlying questions under there. And so I'm going to peel that back just a little bit and talk about some of them. One of the questions usually comes about money, right? How did you find the money to do all this? And there's an old adage, it takes money to make money. I'm not so sure. Of course, if you give me a few million, I could certainly multiply it. It makes it a whole lot easier. But does it mean that you have to have a few million to get started? And the answer is really not. One of the nice things about mutual funds and paper assets and stocks and things like that is that it really doesn't take a whole lot to get started. And that's the appeal to the masses. When people are trying to educate you about investing, different gurus out there, different people talking, part of it is just, let's get started, right? Let's get started. People say, well, how do I start? Well, get started. Start at the beginning. Just do something. Sometimes the paper assets, because you can take $50 and you can buy a mutual fund or a share of stock, that kind of thing. It doesn't take a whole lot of money to get started. It's just an easy stepping stone to get started in investing, right? You can go and put $1 in your savings account. Easy, very low barrier or threshold to entry. A lot of educators, when they're talking about investing, they start in the paper asset side because really they just want you to start with something. If you're continually spending 1.1, 1.2 times your earnings, you're not going in the right direction. Okay, so real estate, it does have a little bit higher barrier to entry. It really does. It's not a $50 start, and usually money is where people kind of get hung up. They sit there and they go, man, I can't go buy a $150,000 house. I don't have $150,000, okay? But it doesn't take $150,000. Normally, what it really does take, it doesn't take as much money as it takes education and a lot of hard work. That's really what it takes, because money is the stumbling block that people put in front of themselves. It's the wall. But education is the ladder that helps you climb the wall. It's the ladder that helps you get over those obstacles, because once you have a few tools in your tool belt, a few nuggets of knowledge, so to speak, that you can go and leverage and use to overcome the lack of money, then certainly you can get started. But it takes time and it takes hard work. A lack of education brings fear. I don't understand. I'm scared. I'm out of my comfort zone. A lot of those usually are expressed by, hey, I just don't even know where to start. Something like that. I wouldn't know where to begin. I just don't know. All that is fear based on a lack of education. There's nothing to be afraid of. I mean, at the end of the day, you'll still be alive no matter what happens, right? It's just money, okay? Money can come and go. The stock market can rise and fall, and your heart still beats as long as sun riseth in sky and you're on this side of the dirt, okay? You're still alive. So, all things can be worked out. Okay, and it's just fine. And one thing you have to do in all things, I think, is to give yourself a little bit of permission to fail, because part of your education has to come in the school of hard knocks. Because if you're too afraid to fail, then you'll never get started in the beginning. Let's just be real about that. So you have to give yourself a little bit of permission to fail, to say, well, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I'm going to try. Okay, I'm going to try. And I've watched all this, and I've seen other people, and they've left breadcrumbs of success, and I'm going to follow those clues, those breadcrumbs of success, and I'm going to do what successful people do, and I'm going to put my heart and soul into it. And you know what? If I mess up, I just mess up, and I'm going to take all my cards, and I'm going to go home, and I'm going to start again. One thing I'd recommend to overcome fear is get a mentor, okay? Success leaves clues. I will tell you that generally older people that are successful, they're comfortable in their success. If you befriend them and call them and ask them up for a cup of coffee and come over and just say, hey, I just need about 15 minutes of your time. I just want to kind of get an understanding of where you've been, where you're going, those kind of things. Those people absolutely love to have you and talk to you a little bit. Okay, I have a good friend in business, and he always says, I love for people to come over and ask me about, even my competitors. They come into my business all the time, because if they're asking me about my business, I'm seeing them in the rearview mirror. There's a lot to that, but a good mentor. I've had great mentors. Some of them are still here. Some of them have passed on, and I'm trying not to get choked up, but we spent a lot of time talking about real estate and educating me along the way, and wouldn't change it. Wouldn't change that for the world. The other component is hard work, right? You need to deal with the money situation. You got to get that out of the way. Okay, you got to just figure out that if I have a good deal, the money will come. You got to get that out of your way. You've got to get the fear out of your way, and both of those come with education. The last component in how to get started, when somebody says, how did you get started in real estate? I'll tell you, I work my backside off. It takes hard work. Now, I shouldn't say that. It doesn't have to take hard work. After reading Gerber's book, The E-Myth, a lot of my philosophies changed up, right? I used to be kind of the mindset of, hey man, dirty hands or clean living, right? I am all in, okay? I am in the toilet, I'm taking care of things, I'm underneath the house, I'm doing stuff like that. So that's how I started. Now, I didn't have any money. Back to slide one, right? I didn't have any money. So when I was struggling trying to get started, you know what? In my mind, that's what it took. I had to get up and go get it, right? But after reading Gerber's book, that kind of changed things, because he talked about being the technician versus the manager versus the entrepreneur. And so I started alleviating myself some of those responsibilities and growing more into an entrepreneur as opposed to the technician, which is, hey man, I am technical. I got my wrench in my hand. I'm all in, because that's what I thought that it took. But I will tell you that what I was dedicated to doing was doing whatever it took. So you can't tell me that it doesn't take work. Now, sometimes the work is a little bit more cerebral, right? A little more brainy. So I'm on spreadsheets, doing math, making phone calls, gathering up money, getting investors together, all that kind of stuff. So it's not necessarily like I'm shooting a nail gun, okay, or setting a toilet. That's not what we're talking about all the time. But sometimes work is preparing for meetings with the banks, right? And sometimes you might have to prepare for financial statements, and those things might take hours. Now, do you have to do all that? No, I don't have to do all that. Right? I could get a property management company in here, and I could do some of that and kind of just oversee that. And I tried that for a little while, just didn't work for me. It wasn't my thing, right? And there's other ways that you can invest, but it does take hard work. And I do believe that, look, great things in life do take some semblance of hard work. Okay, it might not always be dirty hands hard work, but it might be hard work. You have to do whatever it takes, because just like philosophers, including Dave Ramsey, who I love, says, hey, look, today we're going to do what others won't do so that tomorrow we can do what others can't do. Okay, in Dave Ramsey's philosophy, I think it goes something like, today I want to live like no one else, so tomorrow I can live and give like no one else. And that's very, very true. So if it means, hey, I'm going to skip the Panthers game on Sunday so I can take care of this right here that I need to get done, right? Or I'm going to miss the NBA finals, okay, or March Madness. Oh my gosh, like that's really going to elevate my life, okay? I'm going to miss some form of entertainment, right? Don't ask me to miss my son's soccer game or swim meet or something like that. That's not going to happen. We're going to take care of that. Okay. But to watch somebody else play a game or get entertainment or whatever, when I could be invested in myself and growing through education or growing my portfolio, so that later then I can do what no one else can, like come here and record a video where everybody else is going to work and clocking in and out. Because you know what? Being an entrepreneur is not a 9-to-5 job. So just over broke. Okay, that's not what we're doing. It's not a 9-to-5 job. Okay, we take care of things when things need to be taken care of, and we do the work that needs to be done, and then we enjoy what we do. Right, we're chasing our passion, chasing our dreams, and that's what real estate investing is all about: is to leverage time today so that tomorrow we can take advantage of opportunities that come about. So when people say, "Hey, what does it take to be a real estate investor?" or "How did you get started in real estate investing?" And I kind of think about that, and I peel back the onion a little bit. I think about those things. I think about the money obstacles that I faced and had to overcome, right? And you know what? Let's be real. You know, every once in a while, some of these deals come up. I'm like, I'm not really sure I want to go out and raise that kind of money for that. I don't know if I want to invest my money, right? These are all choices we have to make. So the money obstacle, maybe the fear, right, is a big obstacle that we have to overcome with education. And just the hard work, getting it done, right? Turning the crank. Sometimes it's cold and it's rainy outside, and do I really want to get out of bed and come in here and make a video so that 10 years from now, my kids can look at this and go, wow, Daddy was crazy. And I'm like, yes, I was crazy. But it's a good kind of crazy, and crazy for what I do. And so those are all things that I hear. Those are things that it takes, right, to be a real estate investor. Somebody's going to go, well, you know, Greg, no, you can go and invest in a real estate investment trust on the stock market. You don't have to do all that. Yes, that's right. You can. And that's what you get through real estate education, right? It's things like that. But I'm just telling you, sitting back, trying to figure out how to get started, these are the things you need to think about, okay? If this is not for you, go put your $50 a month in a 401k and sit back and watch all the Carolina Panthers games you want to watch, right? And continue to work until you're 70 years old and you retire at 70 and you die at 70 and a half. Okay, you could do all that. Or you could do what I'm talking about. Okay, so thanks for taking the time today to join us. Hope you enjoyed that last video. If you did, like and subscribe. If you didn't, well, forget about it. Move on to the next page. But check out some of our other content at edu.branchwealthpartners.com and get educated.